Like 100%. There is more to doing the splits, and I try and mix it up. I try jump in the air a couple times before I do it.
Yeah.
Recently, I've been jumping off bars. And
I've
pianos, all
seen
sorts
your
of
Insta
stuff.
stories. You've made me go so many times because I'm like, oh my God, like you literally, I don't know how your genitals are actually still there because you've already origamied them into some place of your body.
Yeah.
Welcome to Stan Original RuPaul's Drag Race Down Under the podcast. I'm your host, Justin Hill, and this is the podcast where we recap every episode of the biggest reality show in the world, the Stan Original series, RuPaul's Drag Race Down Under. Now, this week we're going to be recapping episode 7. I cannot believe we are almost at the end of this incredible Down Under journey, but who else would I get on to recap it with me other than the one and only Elektra Shock? Kia ora, Elektra Shock! Oh my
Kia ora,
goodness!
how are you doing?
Oh gosh, you look so beautiful. You look absolutely stunning.
It's a work in progress.
Hey,
It's a work in
look,
progress.
I'm disappointed to talk to you today, but I'm also super excited to talk to you today because you are, my goodness, you have just come through this competition. I don't think anyone is ever going to forget the name Elektra Shock. Is that what you set out to do when you jumped into this competition, or was it more like, let's just see how it goes?
I mean, I suppose we all, go in there wanting to show, put our best foot forward and be remembered. But I didn't expect it. No, honestly, I didn't. I didn't expect to go through the things I went. I didn't expect to have to deal with the things that I dealt with on the show. So it definitely pulled out the best and the worst out of me, but it was life-changing. It really was.
I feel like this was just, I mean, your story on this show was so great to see because we literally got to see you blossom, and we got to see you, like, when you go on a TV show like this, people are always like, oh, you have to be vulnerable and you have to show light and shade. And I feel like we got all of that from you. We got growth, we got anger, we got success, we got talent. Are you exhausted? I would be exhausted.
Yeah. We honestly, and I think we all were by the end of it. We were all absolutely knackered. It's a pressure cooker, and I know you've heard girls say it's a pressure cooker, but it truly is the best description for it because you don't know what to expect.
No.
As much as you can prepare, and I've watched Drag Race forever. I've watched every episode and every season, but you don't know what's going to happen.
No.
Because Ru loves to just goop you and he loves to twist and pull a queen out of a trash can. He just loves to mess with you.
Oh my
and
goodness.
So
there were so many twists and turns in this season. I was just like,
twists and turns.
We could not see it coming. I was like, how are we going to predict what's about to happen next? But that's good though, because it keeps us on our toes.
Definitely. And I think it definitely brought, like you said, that growth out of me. It definitely brought that out because I was constantly challenged. And it wasn't just the challenge of making the dress. It was the challenge of, make a dress, but also consider your entire taste level and who you are as a human being.
Okay, so I always put myself in your shoes, in your heels, if you will. Was that a difficult piece, or was that a difficult criticism to take on, having so many people say, your drag is basic, or you need to fix this? Because some of the queens have told me, there's a lot that we obviously don't see on the show, and a lot of that was all the girls, all the sisters helping each other out and saying, hey, maybe do you want to borrow this? Do you want to, maybe do this next time? But how do you have to really put your big boy pants on and be like, I'm taking on your criticism, you know what I mean? Especially in that pressure cooker environment.
You do. And I think especially in the first couple of episodes, it definitely was like I was the pincushion, it was so it did feel like I was the only one who needed to improve and who had to grow and had to be better. And I was like, okay, cool. I think I have a big history in performance. I'm aware of what I look like.
Mm-hmm.
I'm aware of my wigs, and I'm aware of the lack of outfits that I have, and so, but I think I bring something different. I definitely am a strong performer, and that's sort of what I think got me there. Definitely it's what got me on the show. So it's tough. It was very, very hard. I definitely had a little cry in my hotel room a couple times, but you just have to remember what it's really about. I think what it's really about is what you take from it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? $30,000 would be amazing, but what I got from it is priceless. Do you know what I mean? I got confidence. Mm-hmm. I got knowledge. And you're right, all of those girls did tell me one thing. You know, there was something that I could pick from all of those girls that I now apply to my drag,
Yeah.
and it's made me better for it. So as much as it was like initiation by fire,
Yes.
it was definitely, you know, I came out shining. You know,
Yeah.
I feel good at the end.
Is there one thing that you have walked? Because I mean, a lot of us see, and I guess so. Drag queens go through this, and they come out the other side, and we see that their makeup changes, or we see that their hair changes, or you know. But the thing is that I guess it's just not talked about as much as what it was with you, because a lot of the girls had a lot to say about your looks. Is there one thing that you have picked up where you were just like, oh, that's just gold, and I'm going to keep doing that when it comes to your makeup or your hair, or like a tip from one of the queens that you're just like, brilliant, I'm going to fold that into my routine that I do now?
I think it's less something to add, it's more something to take off. You know what I mean? For me, I think it really was, but because especially I made a lot of my drag is like secondhand, op shops, made myself and things like that.
And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way.
Nothing. Gosh,
Nothing.
no. But my mistake was where you're sort of trying to make drag exuberant and massive and as big and glamorous as it needs to be, you sort of try and toss everything on it.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So it's the sparkly dress, but then sparkly earrings, sparkly wig, sparkly makeup, sparkly lashes, sparkly jewelry, sparkly wrist, sparkly shoes, and then it looks too much. And that's where my taste level came into question. Do you know what I mean? I think I actually didn't have to work as hard as I was. Do you know what I mean? I just sort of had to trust that I'm good enough. Do you know what I mean?
You made it on the show.
On yeah.
Yeah.
And so I just sort of, that was what I had to get from Drag Race, was to remember, no, I'm good enough without the sparkly shit all over me. You know what I mean? So I can put on just a little slip dress and a little wig, and then I can dance my heart out, and that will touch people just as much as a fabulous costume.
I love that. So good. Now, today you are going to help me recap this episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Down Under. So we're going to go through it, and I'm going to get you to give me some little stories as we go along. So we start the episode with this brilliant comment from you about Scarlett doing the splits. I was just like...
what did I say? Like her doing the splits? Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
because she gave you so much shit. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes.
It was like a full circle moment, and I feel like, you know, people watching this are just going to be smirking because it was just like, oh, she got her back.
Yeah. Like 100%. There is more to doing the splits. But if people scream every time I do it, I'm going to give them what they want. Do you know what I mean? One thing that I think is in my skill set is reading an audience. Do you know what I mean? I've really been lucky enough to perform a lot, so I can read an audience. And if they want to split, they want to split.
Do it.
I do it. Do you know what I mean? And I try and mix it up. I try jump in the air a couple times before I do it.
Yeah.
Recently, I've been jumping off bars.
I've seen your Insta stories. You've made me go so many times because I'm like, oh my God, like you literally, I don't know how your genitals are actually still there because you've already origamied them into some place of your body. And then you're doing jump splits off bars. So we go on to hear that it is hilariously the top 4+ art, which I think is so funny, very controversial. Now we find out that obviously we've focused a lot on your charisma, uniqueness, nerve, but now the focus is going to be on your talent with the talent extravaganza. Now Keita gets to plan the show order, and we have this situation where Scarlett is not placed last as she requested, and then we find out that Keita shows her alliance to you, I guess, by saying that you guys had a conversation about it and that you would have liked to have gone last. I mean, something that we've seen throughout the show was, I guess, your personality with Scarlett clashing because I guess you're both very similar. You know, you both have a dancing background. You're kind of like against like you're probably seeing each other as like each other's competitor. Did you butt heads to start with, or was that something that just kind of grew as the competition went along?
Yeah, I think I really do think right from the start we just didn't click. And maybe it was because in terms of aesthetic, you know, we're both tall, skinny, white boys, you know, who do drag, and she has a bit of background in dance, and I'm a professional dancer as well, you know. So there was.
Oh my God, you're such
a
shady bitch.
Similarities.
She has a bit of experience in dance.
Well, no, but sorry, if you're gonna come from my dance background like she did, you know, I 100% will just fact check.
Absolutely, and you're like, girl, this is my career.
Yeah, yeah. So like, let's just, you know, and I would have never, you know, gone in on her credits or gone in on her skill set like
Mm-hmm.
she went on mine, but she
Mm-hmm.
felt the opportunity and need to get a step ahead. So more power to her. But just, we just didn't click.
Yeah.
We just didn't click. And you don't click with everyone.
No.
And it just sort of happened. There's so much happening on the show. If it doesn't happen, it's probably not gonna.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
And
it's like,
not everyone can get along. I mean, what a boring TV show that would be if
that'd be
everyone...
terrible.
Oh,
You
it'd
should
be
all
horrible.
hated it if me and Scarlett had been best friends, holding hands, skipping down the runway.
People
What
would
a
be
load
like,
of rubbish.
boring, we want some drama.
Yeah.
Now, we see Raven appear in the workroom. Now...
Oh, she's gorgeous.
Oh, yes, I saw.
Oh,
There was
she's
just
gorgeous.
the tiniest little bit of flirting from you. Now, I'm just wondering, did that go any further? Have you, like, slid into Raven's DMs? Or, I mean, you got to kiss that hand.
I did get to kiss that hand. I took very opportunity. Yeah, I'd love to, like, hang out. No, I mean, I don't know how my boyfriend would feel about that. But,
Oh, yeah.
no, she's
small detail.
gorgeous. She is gorgeous. Yeah. But, she can visit. She's more than welcome to slide into the DMs. I would love to also just, like, there's so much. What I also was so attracted to with Raven is like her skill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She is a force to be reckoned with
Mm-hmm.
in the industry of drag. She has accomplished so much. She's well on her way to becoming as successful as RuPaul has.
She does
paints the girl's
RuPaul's makeup.
face,
Yeah, exactly. That's what I keep saying. I mean,
Exactly.
how many people have been given that privilege in their career to paint RuPaul's face? I mean, come on. She has to be good.
Yeah. So I just think that more than anything, that's what I was so attracted to with her. It was just like that skill. And with everyone, that's what I'm normally most attracted to anyway. Is like, if you've got some heart and you've got a bit of talent behind you, I'm like, hey, how you doing? There's something I can learn from you. Cool.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and it's almost like an attraction to something that's not physical and it's not something that's tangible. Yeah. It's almost like an inner confidence and power that someone has.
Energy. It's an energy. Yeah.
I totally get that. Now, we do touch on, and I guess there has to be a bit of a trigger warning for people who are listening to this. We do touch on a topic with Art Simone, who talks about, the criticism that she got, and also the death threats, and then also sadly her friend taking her own life. Those conversations that happen in the workroom are often a place of where a lot of emotions come out. Do you think it's because you're in a moment of transformation and you are probably thinking a lot about, I mean, I know that the producers are probably saying to you, hey, like, talk about this, but also too, like, I feel like, is that something that you do when you sit down and you're getting ready and you're kicking with your sisters and stuff like that? You do have those conversations, and that stuff does tend to come out, because that was a very vulnerable moment from Art that we've not really seen on the show at all, and it just goes to show you that there are many layers to people that have all sorts of stories.
Definitely, and you're right. Me and Art really hadn't connected a lot until that sort of last episode, where we even had our and whether it be a butt heads that it was, we hadn't talked. We hadn't chatted, and I think Art was also on her own journey, as we all were, of opening up and talking about ourselves and finding how we share ourselves and how we feel confident and safe to do that. I just think when we're getting into makeup, like you do at home, it's a place that feels safe. For a lot of us, our drag family and our drag sisters was where we were learning, where you had to be vulnerable, where you had to do your eyeliner for the first time and do it wrong, and someone goes, "Girl, what is that?" It is a safe space. So I think the show, that's why you have those moments in the mirrors on the show. It's the sob story in the mirror. But it's where we are being our most vulnerable. It's where we are, transforming ourselves, and to transform you have to break it down.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? To become something you have to destroy it.
And we also saw a very vulnerable moment from you, and I applaud you for opening up about the challenges of you losing your business, and life has been hard. Like, do you know what I mean? And I feel like people in our industry, we tend to not want to show people that, and we tend to not want to show people that those things happen to us. And when you said that about what happened to you, I was like, oh, it was just, I guess, a little bit of a relief to see that, you were willing to share that. And I feel like a lot of us in the media industry, as performers, but even everyone across the world would have seen that and been like, girl, me too. Like that, it's been really difficult. But look at you now. I mean, you're forever a Rue girl, Electra. I mean, you are forever a Rue girl, and I love saying that to drag queens because it's like it's such an honor and it's such a privilege and it's just an incredible moment. And there's so many exciting things for you to come. It must give you butterflies when you think about that.
It really does. It's like a rebirth, and you're right. And like going on to the show, talking about what I went through with my business and things like that. It wasn't. I didn't plan to.
Yeah.
I really didn't plan to, because you're right. We don't. It's not something I wanted to show. It's not because it's a weak point and it was a downfall in my life, and it was something that I felt that I failed at and something that I thought I let so many people down that it's something that I would love to just forget.
Yeah.
But you can't.
No, and you often forget. Don't want to show
you've
that
got to
weakness,
grow
do
and
you?
you've got to build on it. Yeah. And I think, and it was great because you're right. It allowed people to meet me and it allowed people to learn a bit more about me. And I think it's probably the reason why I have received so much love.
Yeah.
The messages that I have gotten are just like,
I was going to say, speaking of people getting to know you, I did see a bit of a saucy photo shoot of you on a motorbike surface online.
Oh, that old thing. Oh. I know. I've always been about, I've always been around.
Yeah, she's always been around. She just looks slightly different.
I mean, look, take nudes while you're young, kids, because
There's the advice of the episode right there. Take nudes while you're young. That's going to be.
While you're young.
That's going to be on your merch.
Enjoy your youth.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a cool billboard as well. That was for a great cause, ending HIV. It was spreading awareness.
Yeah.
Wear a condom.
And you looked
and now
amazing.
we have PrEP. So there's thank you.
Yeah.
But how old was I then? I must have been 20, 21.
So just a couple of years ago.
Just a couple of years ago. Let's go with that. 100%. Let's go with that.
Now we go on to see that our runway theme this week is "How's Your Headpiece?" Now Karen gives us, and then we also go on to our talent show. So Karen has this kind of like little mini meltdown where she has to do a sexy character. One thing that we've talked about a lot. You guys were literally, you could just see her. She was just like, what am I doing? And it was like she was having this kind of like, oh my God, I'm having to kill and bury Karen from finance and bring out this crazy new persona. But when she got out there, she had the sexy leotard on, but it literally looked like Karen from finance from the neck up.
Yeah. But I was saying to her, I was like, you are sexy.
Yeah.
We're all sexy. You know what I mean? In our own different,
absolutely
weird clown makeup way, you know? I was like, it's just finding how Karen is sexy.
She's funny sexy, or she's, it's still sexy.
Sexy. I guarantee people will find you sexy just as you are. It's just you finding the confidence in it. And that was what it was for all of us in some way. It wasn't me getting better wigs and dresses and things. It was me finding the confidence in my dresses and my wigs and my things. It wasn't about art, breaking down, being this perfect thing. It was about her finding the confidence in herself. It was about Keita finding the confidence in her joy, and that's what she was. And the same with Karen. It was just finding the confidence in every aspect of her drag and being able to show something more.
Totally.
Because that was it was. Karen is one of those drag queens who is so successful and is so clever and has such a fantastic brand. People are always going to be wanting more, and now she's just sort of opened this whole other box.
It's like it's literally like a file from finance in her filing cabinet that she never knew she had.
I mean, the porno writes itself, really. Karen from finance. How many office scenes have we seen? It's gorgeous.
I dropped those papers. Let me just pick those up.
Yeah,
now we go on and we see that we've got Art putting a meat pie in her mouth and a lamington in her mouth. Hilarious, very typically Art. I mean, you don't even, it's impossible to describe what she was actually doing, but then you kind of watch it and you go, well, yeah, that's Art. I mean, that makes sense. That was her thing.
Yeah. It's like a skit.
Yeah, we've got Keita doing quick change magic, Scarlett doing pole dancing, finishing in a split. I noticed.
Really?
Yes. Funny that. And then you with your beautiful dance. Now, that was just something stunning to see, and I feel like anyone who has a background in that understands the emotion that goes into a performance like that. I feel like you must have just been empty, like your fuel levels just must have been on empty at the end of that performance, because you gave it your everything, right?
Yeah, I really did, and it was that dance when I first choreographed it was meant to be my sob story.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was meant to be my, if I'm going to talk about it, I'll dance about it. I haven't danced for a while. It's, something that's been a bit triggering for me. I was like, okay, fine. I'm going to dance my, you know,
Yeah.
but it sort of became something else. By where it ended up in the competition being so late, it's sort of, I'd changed so much.
Yeah.
I'd grown so much, and my opinion around all of it had changed. So it really did become a release.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just sort of, I left everything on the floor, and there was mistakes. My wig was shit. My dress was basic. My wig got caught on the floor. I stumbled into the turn. I know all these things, but I got so much from it.
Yeah.
I danced in front of the world.
Exactly.
That's something I would never thought I'd do again. Do you know what I mean? And to have that sort of just like kick up the butt, like just get out there, James, and trust yourself, you stupid bitch. You know, it was initiation by fire, but I'm so thankful for it.
We see Karen in her poodle outfit. We have Art with her mechanical butterflies. Keita in her light up robo look, which was just epic. Scarlett has, I think, the first ever headpiece that doubled as a jacket, because when she comes out, she kind of like parts her headpiece. I was like, I don't think that's ever been done on Drag Race before. Yeah. And then you, girlfriend, you rock out this swing set look. And I was like, where the has she been hiding this? Because that was a brilliant outfit. It was brilliant.
I really wanted to it sort of was so fitting, and you know, because we get told the runways in advance, and we sort of know what challenges we might have, but we don't know how they'll go together. And this look was inspired by all of like my fantastic female dance icons that I've had over the years, you know, right? Like the Moulin Rouge and Nicole Kidman coming down on the swing, and like Veronica Beatty, who was one of the first teachers to teach me jazz, and Fosse, and my best friend Rebecca, who is like this amazing classical jazz dancer. And I wanted to pay tribute to all those women in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just so fitting that it came after I'd done the dance as well. You know, this headpiece was one of the last things I made. That's made out of my wardrobe. The wooden like T-bar. Yeah, I cut my wardrobe. You
took your wardrobe to pieces to make it?
My wardrobe, yeah, 100%. 100%. It's heavy. It's weight of wood. And I just didn't, it was sort of like, as well, like, how do you, everything has to be elevated.
Yeah, totally.
Do you know what I mean? It's not enough to just stick a feather head, because I could have just come out as a showgirl with little, you know, ostrich feathers and cute, but like, it's Drag Race.
Absolutely. I feel like Gigi Good was like shaking, you know, I feel like that's something that Gigi would do. She'd just be like, oh, she's probably watching it going, oh, brilliant. I'm going to start doing, you know, like some kind of like props coming off my head that I can sit on. It was so good.
Thank you. I just wanted to as well, like, it sort of expanded the scene around me. It sort of put me in a place, you know. I was on stage, I'm coming down from the sky. It was just sort of, it was a really powerful look for me.
So good. Now, we'll obviously get that question on the runway of who the girls think should go home, and you did touch on it before with all of the girls saying you. I do feel like in a situation like that, sometimes it's a little bit of a herd mentality, where as soon as like one or two people start to say one person, perhaps some of the other girls are like, oh, I don't want to say anyone else because I don't want to be out of the clique, or I don't want to be like seen as like, do you know what I mean? Like, and they're like, well, if I'm probably going to be here next week, I don't want to have a showdown with someone because I said their name. Whereas you were probably someone where they could safely just go, everyone's jumping on her, so I'm just going to say her name as well. Is that how it felt to you?
I mean, I think everyone had been quite comfortable with me being the stress ball for them throughout the competition. Do you know what I mean? So it wasn't a surprise.
Yeah, just throw a bit more on her.
Yeah, I literally was like, okay, cool, like, that's fine. Like, it didn't matter. And you're right, maybe it was a little bit of herd mentality, but I think we all had worked very, very hard.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's so like, what do you pick and choose? And if the easiest option is to be like, well, she doesn't have the wigs and the makeup and the dresses, then fine. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't. No. You know, I didn't. And that's true, and that's valid, and, you know, it's what it is.
Do you know what?
It is what it is. I know
that. I look at it and I go, we saw so much growth from you, but I feel like you are almost the best placed queen coming out of this competition, because you have the most space to grow. People are going to look at you and they're going to be like, I loved your journey on the show, and I loved that kind of growth. And then as the years go by, people are going to be like, oh my God, it's just brilliant. It keeps getting better and better and better. You don't want to ever get to a point where you stall and you go, well, this is my drag now. I get on and I do the same thing all the time. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, right? I do. I've definitely been put into a really, really good place, and I learned lots from the show as well, and from the other girls and from the judges. So like, I've really been. It was like a workshop. You know, it was like therapy for me personally, and then like this huge masterclass in drag.
Totally.
So I definitely feel like you're right. I can go anywhere.
Yeah.
In terms of like, you know, what I'm going to do next and things like that. I've just left my options open. I don't know whether I'm going to become a singer. I probably want to do some like dance workshops. You know, the world is my oyster now, thanks to Drag Race, and I am very blessed.
So exciting. We get a little message from the Veronicas, and then Keita has some lovely stuff to say about you, along that vein of, you know, kind of like your growth and stuff like that. And then the Veronicas give you the advice of a well-placed slut drop is always good in a lip sync, which is fantastic. We hear that Scarlett is our winner of this week, and yourself and Keita are in the bottom two, and you guys lip sync to the iconic song Untouched by the Veronicas. Was that just like do you know what I love about this, is particularly the Australian version, is that there are songs that you wouldn't even have to really practice the words. You're like, I can just go there, it'll just come to me.
100%.
You know?
Yeah. I remember we were also like, because it's a fast song and the words are really
so
fast.
fast.
We all sort of, when we got it, we were all like, oh, that second verse. And I was like, this was me in the back of my car with the rain against the thing. And I was like, you know, like that, it was all our emo teen life. Yeah. And it was fun. I was actually really, you know, you never want to lip sync and be the bottom, but I had so much fun lip syncing on the show. And I got some good songs.
Yeah.
Like, I had great songs to lip sync to this season.
And look, the last thing I wanted to say to you before we finish up is that you almost had me when you said psych. I was like, you bitch. I thought you were walking off the set. I thought you were doing a Ginny Lemon. I was like, you mole. I literally screamed at the television. I was like, you bitch. I'm like, I was
like,
like,
I'm not doing it.
I was like, and then you were like, psych. I was like, and then I'm like, sing. It was just so
I couldn't
brilliant.
deny you of one more electroshock lip sync, could I?
It was just so good, and I absolutely loved seeing you on this show. You did such a brilliant job, and I think you should be so proud of yourself, and I cannot wait to see what comes from you next, because there are big things. You're going to shock the world with Electroshock. Congratulations, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. It's been wonderful talking to you.
Welcome to the part of the podcast where we are completely unqualified to hand out any awards or anything to do with makeup or the looks of the queens. But I tell you what, a lot of us do sit at home each week on our couches watching this show thinking, oh, I would have done that different, or I would have painted a face like this. But I tell you what, we are completely unqualified, but that is not going to stop us from handing out an award every week to the best makeup, otherwise known as the Beat of the Week. Let's get into it.
Beat of the Week.
Now listen, I could not do this podcast this week without giving the Beat of the Week award to Raven. I mean, when she stepped onto the workroom floor, just all of the air went out of it. Her makeup is absolutely flawless. I found myself continually looking at the different parts of her face, the way that she does her lips, the color of her eye makeup, the shapes that she draws on her face to just give it that swept back kind of look. It was absolutely amazing. And I feel like Raven's makeup was incredible to start with, but somehow over the years, it's just gotten better and better and better. And I tell you what, that is the reason why Raven is the person that does RuPaul's makeup, because every week we see RuPaul, she looks absolutely flawless. So, Raven, congratulations. You are this week's Beat of the Week. Welcome. Yes, this is my favorite part of the podcast, other than talking to the queens, of course. Every week we get some wisdom from Mama Ru and share it with each other, because who else's word are we going to live by other than Mama Ru? She's the wisest person that we know. So this week's word of Ru is, first learn the rules, then break them. And I tell you what, that is drag down to a T. Know what you're doing and then break all the rules and do what you want. I love it. Well, that is it for another episode. Thank you so much for joining me, and a big thank you to Electroshock for helping me recap this week's episode. I cannot believe we are only one episode away from finding out who will be the very first ever Down Under Drag Race superstar. This is so exciting. Now, don't forget, you can subscribe to the podcast and also follow me on social media at @just_heal, and I want you to DM me who you think is going to win. Now that we've got our final queens, who is going to take out the crown? This is so exciting. We're going to be here same time, same place next week. Do not miss it. And also don't forget, you can catch a new episode of the Stan Original series, RuPaul's Drag Race Down Under, only on Stan.